On my 30th birthday, Gavin took me for a helicopter ride, and his beloved was also there. Midway through, we faced a plane malfunction, but there were only 2 parachutes available. He had to choose between taking me to jump and escape or taking his beloved. Faced with a choice, he firmly chose the white moonlight. He told me, "Shirley's happy life is just beginning, I can't let her die. Don't worry, once she and I are safe, I will definitely come to rescue you." He doesn't realize that the recent plane malfunction was a staged incident I set up to test him. Gavin spoke as he helped Shirley put on her parachute backpack. His eyes were filled with worry, afraid that something might happen to his beloved. I sat in my seat, quietly observing everything. Gavin anxiously strapped on his parachute backpack, gripping Shirley's hand tightly. Just before getting ready to skydive, he looked at me and said, "Jasmine, don't hold it against me. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you've never had to face a tough day. But Shirley is different, she hasn't had those life experiences yet. So, we should give her the opportunity to live, right?" I really wanted to ask this question, but ultimately, I didn't say anything. At that moment, Gavin and Shirley, their fingers intertwined, had already jumped out of the plane. I pressed a button on the driver's panel, and the fault warning vanished instantly. Watching the man and woman tightly embracing in the air, my heart felt utterly dead. Today is my 30th birthday, and it marks the 7th year that Gavin and I have been together. We met because of a flight, and now let's bring this to a close. I took over the pilot's seat and flew the plane back to the base by myself. After landing and changing my clothes, I overheard some employees whispering. "Did you hear? Gavin had an accident while parachuting with his beloved. Shirley is currently injured and has been taken to the hospital, and young Master Lu spent 10 million to hire a specialist to treat her. He even knelt at the operating room door, pleading with the heavens to let her survive." Each word felt like a knife piercing my heart. I clenched my fists, letting my nails dig into my palms. I called to reach out to a grandfather of mine who lives abroad. He is a close friend of my grandfather and has established a helicopter experience center overseas. I was invited to be a coach several times, but I declined because I was with Gavin and had his child. But now, I can finally go. Grandpa is really happy to hear that I'm coming. "Jasmine, I'll send someone to pick you up right away, and you'll arrive the day after tomorrow." "All right, Grandpa." After hanging up the phone, I noticed that Gavin had updated Facebook with a picture praying for safety. The caption read, "Oh God, please keep her safe." There are a lot of comments below, all assuming that he is praying for me for 7 years. "Gavin, is something wrong with your sister-in-law? Should we come over to help? Is there an issue with her child?" Gavin's response was clear, "It's not her, it's Shirley who had the accident." My heart sank as I gripped my phone tightly, and a tear fell onto the screen. I met Gavin at the helicopter base, where he was the youngest instructor and took me on my first flight. I started visiting the base frequently, specifically requesting him as my instructor. Eventually, he developed feelings for me and confessed his love. However, I am 5 years older than him, and for me, a relationship with a younger man won't lead anywhere. Still, he keeps pursuing me, sending flowers and gifts. One time, I was robbed by a thug, and he ended up saving me. That's why I agreed to help him. After we got married, he and I were deeply in love, and he treated me wonderfully. However, it wasn't long before I discovered signs of his cheating. In his photo recycle bin, there were intimate pictures of him with Shirley. His mobile banking transfer records show consistent evidence of money being sent to Shirley. However, I don't want to separate from him because I love him too much. So, I have endured it over and over again. When I arrived at the hospital, I scheduled a termination of pregnancy. My baby is already 5 months old and fully developed. The doctor incredulously asked me several times, "Your baby is so healthy and has no issues at all. Are you really sure you want to go through with this?" I am certain. When I say this, my heart is filled with pain. But I have no choice, I don't want this child to be born into unhappiness. That would be irresponsible of me. I still remember when I was pregnant, Gavin was especially happy. He posted several times on Facebook, announcing to the world that he had become a father and that he would change his ways in the future. Then quit smoking and drinking, come home on time every day. Remember to buy me gifts for all the holidays, and every night you share your thoughts with me. I don't understand how such a good man could betray me. I've held on this long without confronting him directly. As I stepped outside with the appointment slip, I spotted Gavin not far away. He was sitting in a chair in the hallway, cradling his head with red eyes. Shirley, you mustn't get into any trouble. If you die, I don't want to live either. It seems he has completely forgotten about coming to rescue me. I was wondering, if I hadn't intentionally staged this scenario today, would I have already vanished from this world along with that plane? Suddenly, Gavin looked up and saw me, his eyes filled with disbelief. Jasmine, what are you doing here? He asked, as if he had just realized something. Are you all right? Yes, I'm fine. I walked over and looked at him calmly. He suddenly got angry. I see now, you intentionally orchestrated this malfunction. Were you trying to kill Shirley? How could you be so cruel? He tightly gripped my cheek. His strength was immense, and I felt as if my cheekbone was about to break. Yes, I did this intentionally. I struggled to say these words. I want to know what else he can do for Shirley. He is so angry that his teeth are clenched tightly. Jasmine, why are you doing this? Shirley has just beaten cancer, and her happy life is just beginning. Why would you want to ruin it for her? I swear, if anything happens to her, I won't let you get away with it. It's truly absurd. My husband is threatening me here over another woman. When he saw me smile, it only made him angrier. His grip tightened a little more. Jasmine. You cold-hearted and malicious woman, I truly regret marrying you. I was just about to say that I regret it as well when the doctor suddenly emerged from the operating room. The patient is now out of danger. In that moment, I saw the light return to Gavin's eyes. I felt utterly drained, collapsing to the ground. My cheeks still throbbed with pain. I know that the boy who used to hold me and always said, Jasmine, you will always be my woman, has completely vanished. Shirley was taken to the hospital room. Meanwhile, Gavin pinned me to the ground, demanding that I apologize to Shirley. He glared at me and said, Jasmine, hurry up and apologize to Shirley. If you don't, I won't let you off the hook. Shirley lay on the bed, looking very weak. I'm okay, Gavin, you don't need to be angry on my behalf. Losing my worthless life wouldn't be such a bad thing. Gavin hurried over, his face filled with sorrow. This isn't how it should be, Shirley, you are the best woman in the world. You need to live well. I still want to take you to Xinjiang, to northeast China, and to many, many other places. I used to really want to visit these places with Gavin. Back then, he promised me, I will definitely take you there, Jasmine. But now, he has forgotten all of it. I should have recognized long ago that he no longer belonged to me. The last time, he was doing that kind of thing with Shirley in our car without my knowledge. The last time, he took Shirley for a helicopter ride and gifted her a helicopter with their names printed on it. In those moments, my heart was slowly shattering. Jasmine, this is all your fault. If it weren't for you, Shirley wouldn't be in this situation. Gavin shouted in anger and rushed over to grab my hair. He really wants to hit me, but he's also worried about the baby I'm carrying. Jasmine, if there's a next time, I'll make your family go bankrupt. But he doesn't realize that I don't care about anything anymore. I just want to get a divorce. Gavin left to buy porridge for Shirley and told me to watch over her. He also warned me, saying, if you dare to have any inappropriate thoughts about Shirley, I will definitely kill you. At that moment, Shirley looked at me and smiled, saying, you lost. I admitted it, I lost. Just yesterday, we had agreed that during today's helicopter ride, we would find out who Gavin loves more. The answer is clear, Gavin loves her more. You should divorce Gavin and leave this city. I understand. I replied gently. Once I have the abortion, I will be leaving. In the future, I wish you and Gavin happiness." Just as I finished speaking, she suddenly burst into tears. "Jasmine, I beg you to let me go, please don't scold me anymore. I truly love Gavin. We've already missed our chance once, and I don't want to let it slip away again." By the time I realized it, Gavin had already burst in. He grabbed my hair and forced me to look him in the eye. "Jasmine, did I ever tell you not to touch Shirley? You want to accept the toast but end up facing the consequences, don't you? The boy who used to be gentle with me has now become harsh time and again. It seems my decision to leave was indeed the right one." Shirley looked at me triumphantly from the bed. I felt too weak to resist. "Gavin, if you care about Shirley this much and like her so much, then let's get a divorce." Gavin's pupils suddenly narrowed. He seemed unable to believe that I would say such a thing to him. "You want to divorce me?" Gavin's voice was filled with disbelief. "Yes, let's head to the Civil Affairs Bureau now, there's still time before they close." "Jasmine." He suddenly erupted in anger. "It was your mistake today, you nearly put Shirley in danger. Are you still throwing a tantrum and trying to divorce me? Have you lost your mind?" "I have." I just stare at him. Suddenly, I recalled him from yesterday, still holding me and saying, "Jasmine, do you want a son or a daughter?" I replied, "I want a son, just as strong as you, so that there will be 2 boys to protect me in the future. You will surely make your dreams come true." But today, he completely shattered my heart. My 7-year relationship with him has finally ended. "Gavin, I want a divorce. I will be waiting for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau." After I left, I received many messages from Gavin on Facebook. "I still have feelings for Shirley, but I haven't done anything inappropriate. The person I love the most is still you. Why are you upset? Jasmine, you're already 30. If you divorce me, who else would want you? Can you just stop causing trouble, please?" As I read these words, I suddenly recalled him from many years ago. Back then, he would always call me sister. "Sister, you are truly beautiful, and I want to love you for a lifetime." I asked him if he would mind me growing old. He replied firmly and seriously, "I won't mind, I will love you well for the rest of my life." Jasmine, I have chosen you. But now, he has forgotten all of this. I waited for a long time at the Civil Affairs Bureau in the afternoon, but Gavin never showed up. When I called him, he told me, "Jasmine, I won't divorce you. We've been together for so many years, and I won't just end things like this." I don't understand why he loves Shirley so much yet still won't let me go. Gavin, I know that you and Shirley have been in touch. I also understand how much you love her, so I'm letting you go to give her a proper title. At this point, my heart can no longer beat for him. The person on the other end of the line was taken aback, as if they didn't expect me to know any of this. There's a saying, "I've seen how you love me, so when you don't, I can instantly notice." That's exactly how I feel about Gavin. He used to love me deeply, but now he has changed his mind, and I noticed it immediately. I don't truly love her, I'm just trying to recover the regrets I had in my youth. Jasmine, please don't take this the wrong way, I will soon move past this regret. I realize that it's impossible for him to come over and divorce me now. So, I just hung up the phone and reached out to Gavin's mother. When Gavin's mother found out that I was going to have an abortion, she was quite shocked and even tried to convince me to reconsider. But I said, "Mom, Gavin has already moved on, and it's impossible for us now. The boy who once loved me so deeply now belongs to someone else." I also shared everything I had kept buried in my heart during this time with her. In the end, she relented and agreed to help me find a way to get Gavin to sign the divorce agreement. The next day arrived quickly, and Gavin's mother went with me to have the abortion procedure. Just before entering the operating room, I noticed that Shirley had updated her Facebook. In the photo, Gavin is washing her underwear. My Gavin is truly wonderful to me. Gavin has never washed my underwear when we were together, I always took care of him. And now, he is caring for others in a place where I can't see him. Indeed, the difference between love and indifference is quite profound. I turned off my phone and went straight into the operating room. When I woke up again, my stomach had shrunk significantly. Gavin's mother was by my side, feeling very concerned for me. After being part of the Gu family for so many years, she has always liked me and treated me kindly. Jasmine, Gavin still loves you, he's just momentarily confused. But what does that matter? The bottom line is that he has already betrayed me, and I won't forgive him again. As I thought about this, the ward door suddenly swung open. An angry Gavin stormed in. Jasmine, I never expected you to go this far. Not only did you intentionally frame Shirley, but now you're even bringing my mom into this. At that moment, he became completely still, as he noticed my empty stomach. This is the first time I've seen Gavin so desperate. His face was etched with pain and disbelief. The child, where is the child? He reached out to touch my stomach, and I felt incredibly nauseous, so I pushed his hand away. The child is gone. Why? He glared at me in anger. Jasmine, can you tell me why? This is the child we've both been longing for. Yes, I have indeed been thinking about this child with him even before now. We are all eagerly anticipating its arrival, having even bought plenty of clothes and toys in advance. We also decorated the nursery together. We are excited about the life of our family of 3. Because I no longer love you. I used to think it was hard to say this, but now it feels so easy to express. My words made Gavin's face go pale. He seemed unable to believe that I no longer loved him and didn't understand what he had done wrong. He definitely wouldn't know, since I've never mentioned any of this. I've never caused any trouble for him. It's just that Shirley and I had a few encounters. He looked at me with pain in his eyes. In the circles of the wealthy, who doesn't have a few women? Haven't I married you and given you a title? You only need to know that the one I love is you. Why do you worry about these things? I no longer want to have these pointless conversations with him. I just closed my eyes. He was so furious that he shattered the vase in the hospital room. Jasmine, you must have changed your mind, right? You really make me feel sick. That's enough. Gavin's mother finally spoke up. You were the one who wronged Jasmine first. Gavin, you've missed out on the best girl in the world, and you will surely regret it later. Mom, have you also fallen under her spell? Do you realize she almost caused harm to Shirley? With a sharp slap, Gavin's mother struck him hard. You idiot, do you know? Mom, please stop. Gavin and I are probably meant to be but never meant to be together. I interrupted his mother because I didn't want her to reveal the truth. Keeping these matters hidden is the last bit of dignity I can offer Gavin. In the evening, I received a Facebook message from Gavin. It was a photo of the airplane model we had once built together, now broken into pieces. Jasmine, you are truly despicable for using my mom to force me into a divorce. Let me tell you, if you go out and find other men, they won't treat you well. You will surely regret this in the future. This model was the gift he gave me for my 23rd birthday. At that time, he said to me, Jasmine, will you marry me? That was the day he proposed. This item was one of my most treasured possessions, but now it's broken. Just like my love with Gavin, it has fallen apart. The next morning, I completed the discharge process. Grandpa's people had already arrived to pick me up. Gavin's mother was reluctant to say goodbye and took me to the airport. On the way, I saw an official Weibo post from Gavin announcing his engagement to Shirley, which is scheduled for next month. It's so quick, I just broke up with him, and he's already engaged to Shirley. But none of this matters to me anymore. From now on, I just wish him happiness. Just before boarding the plane, I received a call from Gavin. His voice on the other end was dripping with sarcasm. Did you see? I'm about to get engaged to Shirley. If you have any regrets, you can still come back now, I'll give you another chance. I won't be coming back. Jasmine, don't be so ungrateful, without me, who else would love you like I do? He said this through clenched teeth. I smiled and said, I still have myself to love. Then I hung up the phone and boarded the plane. The country I come from is in the north, and it has a beautiful city that experiences snowfall as soon as winter arrives. I went to see Grandpa, and he told me that his grandson is currently managing the base. In the future, his grandson will be working with me. I have no particular opinion, I just want to do what I feel like doing right now, and it doesn't matter who is with me. After Jasmine left, Gavin was trying on wedding outfits with Shirley. Shirley was beaming with joy, but Gavin seemed preoccupied. He was reflecting on the phone call he just had. He felt a sense of unease, as if Jasmine truly wouldn't return. But how could that be possible? They clearly loved each other deeply. Jasmine even told him that she would never leave him. He grew increasingly anxious as he thought about it, and ultimately couldn't bear it any longer. He apologized to Shirley and went to the hospital. Jasmine has just undergone an abortion and needs to recuperate. Even though Gavin is quite upset about it, he still cares for her. He went to buy chicken soup and brought it to the hospital. However, when he arrived at the hospital, he was met only with an empty bed. The nurse informed him that Jasmine had already been discharged. He thought Jasmine had already gone home, so he rushed back. However, there was no one at home, it was completely empty. All of Jasmine's belongings had vanished, not even a cup was left behind. Jasmine, are you really serious? At that moment, Gavin was completely panicked. He had been trying to call Jasmine, but no one was picking up. He suddenly thought of his mother, she must know where Jasmine is. He hurried back to the old house, where Gavin's mother was already waiting for him. I knew you would come looking for me. Gavin, I told you that you would regret this. Gavin's mother looked at him and calmly spoke these words. Mom, where did Jasmine go? I can't find her anywhere. She has already left the country. She has completely lost hope in you and will no longer love you. The original plane malfunction was a scheme orchestrated by her and Shirley, she simply wanted to see who you would choose to save in the end. Suddenly, Gavin had an epiphany. It turned out that the truth was like this. No wonder Jasmine didn't do anything that day. However, as he thought about this, he suddenly recalled how he had treated Jasmine. That day, he had pinched her cheek and even forced her to kneel and apologize to Shirley. No. It's impossible. Gavin couldn't accept this. He turned and ran to find Shirley, eager to get to the bottom of it. Shirley, was the plane malfunction that day something you and Jasmine planned together? After finding Shirley, this was the first question Gavin asked. Shirley paused for a moment, then said, so you already know. It really is like that. Jasmine was testing you, and in the end, she discovered that the person you love is me. With a loud bang, Gavin felt as if a bomb had gone off in his head. He couldn't believe this was happening. Everything had been orchestrated by Jasmine, it was all part of her test. But that day, he made the firm decision to choose Shirley, leaving Jasmine alone on the plane. He wondered what Jasmine was thinking at that moment. Stop worrying about her, the person you love now is me, and we should be together properly. Shirley tried to take Gavin's hand, but he forcefully pushed her away. Why didn't you tell me sooner? His voice was full of anger. I think it's enough that you love me, there's no need to share these things. I don't love you. Gavin shouted this. I'm with you only because you are my ideal, and I want to make up for the regret of not having you in the past. This engagement with you isn't genuine, I just want to provoke Jasmine into coming back. This revelation left Shirley utterly speechless. She never imagined that in the end, she would be the one who lost the bet. In the blink of an eye, I'd been in the northern region for 3 months. Throughout this time, I've been practicing flying at the base. My coach's name is Daniel, and he is Grandpa's grandson. He is 5 years older than me and spends every day with me. We eat and work out together. Over time, we became good friends. It suddenly reminded me of how I met Gavin in a similar way. What a coincidence. Recently, I've also heard about what's been happening in the country. Gavin is not engaged to Shirley. He announced online that the only person he loves is me, and he has been spending a lot of money to buy information about me. I find it amusing that your heart isn't in the right place when you're with me. I only began to regret it after I left. Does that count as a late realization of deep feelings? At that moment, Daniel suddenly appeared. He said to me, I have a great place I'd like to take you to. Would you do me the honor, Miss Jasmine? Sure, I replied without hesitation. Daniel covered my eyes with a cloth during the journey. When we arrived, he helped me remove the cloth. What I saw was a pink airplane surrounded by red roses. Jasmine, this is for you. Daniel gazed at me with affection. Why? Even though I understand his intentions, I just want to act oblivious for now. I'm not ready to face the next relationship yet. I like you. He smiled at me, and his dark eyes were filled with love for me. After spending some time together, I've come to realize that he is a really good person. He is gentle and patient, always able to notice when something is off with my emotions and willing to talk it out with me. Plus, when I catch a cold, he promptly brings me medicine. Jasmine, 3 months ago you came to the north and told me you had gotten divorced. You said you felt like a woman nobody wants anymore. But I want to tell you now that you have someone, and I want you. I want to love you for a lifetime. This phrase feels so familiar. It was almost identical to what Gavin had once told me. Just as I was about to say something, a figure suddenly appeared and punched Daniel. It was Gavin, angrily striking Daniel. This is my wife, how dare you confess your feelings to her? I rushed over to break them apart. I didn't think Gavin would find his way here. Let go of Daniel. Gavin was taken aback, looking at me with sadness. Jasmine, I know everything now. I know you haven't changed your feelings. I was wrong, please don't leave me. He tried to take my hand, but I pulled away. Gavin, we are divorced. We should go back and get remarried. Jasmine, please forgive me, I will treat you well from now on. I grabbed Daniel's hand directly. I'm sorry, but I already have a boyfriend, so please leave. I wasn't sure about agreeing to Daniel at first, but after all his efforts, I've come to realize that he is quite a good match for me. When Gavin saw me and Daniel holding hands, it was as if he had been deeply hurt. He stepped back a few paces. No, you must be trying to provoke me. Jasmine, I know you still love me. No, I don't love you anymore. I said this coldly, with no emotion in my voice. Gavin, I stopped loving you the moment you chose Shirley instead of me. Please go away. I got into the car with Daniel and we drove off. While he was driving, he suddenly asked me, were you upset with your ex-husband just now? I replied firmly, no. It's just his presence that makes me feel you are perfect for me. I used to dream of finding someone I like, who also likes me back. However, simply liking someone isn't enough, they also need to be responsible and accountable. Most importantly, that person should be a genuinely good person. Daniel is great, he's a perfect match for me. I would be very happy with him. I went to a nearby restaurant with Daniel, but unexpectedly, Gavin followed us. This time he is holding a model airplane, the one I used to assemble with him. Jasmine, I'm sorry, I was wrong before. I have now finished assembling the model airplane, and I have completely severed ties with Shirley. I will no longer have any contact with her. I beg you, please come back to my country with me. I looked at the model airplane, even though it was already assembled, it still had cracks on it. Gavin, we can't go back. And don't you really like Shirley? Why are you coming to me? I don't like her, I have no feelings for her. He quickly explained to me that Shirley is just a casual partner. In my view, loving someone means keeping both your body and soul clean. You have gone on countless dates with Shirley behind my back and given her gifts. I have put up with you many times, convincing myself to give you another chance, but Gavin, this time I won't give you a chance. I had dinner with Daniel and went to the base to practice flying. He said to me, that person is still following us. I turned around and glanced back. Gavin was trailing behind us at a leisurely pace, his eyes red. It's fine, I'll make him understand that I truly don't love him anymore. After saying this, I took Daniel's hand and got on the plane. After we finished practicing, Gavin quickly brought me some water, but I completely ignored him. I said to Daniel, "Let's go talk to your grandfather about the marriage tomorrow. I want to marry you." "No, you can't get married." Gavin immediately interrupted me and rushed over. "Jasmine, please don't do this. Can't we just talk things through properly? We have already made things very clear between us." I looked at him and said, "Gavin, your heart is unfaithful, and that's why I'm leaving you." In that moment, he was speechless, because he really is unfaithful at heart. I was getting ready to leave with Daniel when I suddenly heard a thud. Turning around, I saw Gavin kneeling on the ground, his face contorted in pain. "Jasmine, I truly realize I was wrong. That day on the plane, I couldn't help but think that Shirley couldn't die, especially since she had fought hard to survive after battling cancer. I was planning to come back and save you right away. I figured I had enough time. But that day, I realized you were in the hospital and never even considered saving me. Gavin, stop pretending to love me. Maybe you can't live without me, but you don't truly love me." Since that day, I hadn't seen Gavin for a long time. Daniel and I had already made plans for our wedding and were getting ready to go back to our country to celebrate it. That day, I went back to my country with him to take our wedding photos. When we arrived at the location, we unexpectedly ran into Gavin. He was dressed in formal attire, holding a bouquet of roses and gazing at me tenderly. "Jasmine, I made many mistakes in the past that caused me to lose you. This time, I truly want to start anew with you, and I am willing to swear on my life." "Stop." I interrupted him. Looking at his face, a face that once drove me wild with love and admiration. But now, all I feel is disgust. I still don't understand why two people who once loved each other so deeply have ended up like this. "Gavin, I'll say this one last time, I'm completely done with you. I have a new life now, so please don't bother me anymore." With that, I took Daniel and left. After finishing the wedding photos, I received a message from Shirley on Facebook. She said she wanted to meet me. I went to see her, and she has changed quite a bit since then. "You won." She looked at me with slightly red eyes. "Jasmine, I once thought I was younger and more beautiful than you, which made me believe that Gavin would definitely like me. But what he really likes is just my body. Now it doesn't matter who he likes, because I no longer love him." This realization brings me a sense of relief. There was a time when Gavin pulled me along, and even though he cheated, I couldn't bring myself to leave. But now, I have truly moved on. "But you used to like Gavin so much, even forgiving him for cheating multiple times. Can you really bring yourself to let him go?" This isn't about being merciful or not, my heart had already died with each time he hurt me. Life is short, and I don't want to waste my time on people who don't matter. It seems you truly don't want me anymore. Gavin suddenly showed up, with dark circles under his eyes, looking like he hadn't slept well. I had surely probed you, but what it really felt like was a knife piercing my heart. He looked so pained. I suddenly recalled that I had once experienced such pain as well. Yet, he never realized how much I was suffering. "Gavin, you once left me stranded on a plane, didn't I suffer? If that wasn't me testing you, I might have already died. I gave you countless chances, convincing myself that you would improve, but you didn't. I could only escape from the depths of despair. So, did we really just hit our child?" His voice was filled with bitterness, as if he were about to shatter. "If we are to separate, shouldn't we do it cleanly? I'm sorry, Jasmine." He buried his face in his hands and started to cry. Shirley stood up and cried as well. "Gavin, I noticed a long time ago that you really like Jasmine. It's just that you haven't recognized it yourself. Those who love without awareness should be held accountable. My wedding with Daniel is approaching. I saw some news about Gavin online. He has already left the base and announced that he will no longer be a pilot. I am quite surprised because becoming a pilot was Gavin's dream. He once told me that he put in a lot of effort to achieve it. He began training at the base while in college, overcoming physical discomfort along the way. He really worked hard to become a pilot. At that moment, he posted on Weibo. Those who lose their wives find no fortune, while those who love their wives flourish. It truly is the case. He has finally grasped this truth. But it is too late now. I had given him too many opportunities before, yet he failed to appreciate them. On the day of my wedding with Daniel, I received a gift of 300,000 from Gavin, along with a letter. Jasmine, I just hope you will be okay in the future. His realization came far too late. Daniel looked at the money, hugged me, and said, let's leave the past behind and embrace the present. After the wedding ceremony started, I spotted Gavin in the crowd. He was quietly wiping away his tears. Strangely, I no longer feel anything for him. I have truly moved on. The wedding ceremony has ended, and Gavin has found the makeup room. Don't misunderstand me, I just want to have a proper conversation with you because I'm leaving tomorrow. Where are you going? He bowed his head and remained silent for a moment before replying, I am going to become a monk. I once allowed our desires to drive us apart. Moving forward, I want to give up lust and desire. Jasmine, I want you to see a completely new version of me. He said, as he took out the airplane model again. Just take it, think of it as a keepsake. My heart softened a little, and I wanted to retract my feelings. But then I suddenly recalled how he used to hit me, and the way he showed no compassion towards me. Gavin, I want to have no further involvement with you, so I don't want to keep anything related to you. He was taken aback and then gave a bitter smile. Yes, after all, you are married now. I wish you happiness, Sister Jasmine. Many years ago, he used to call me like this. Back then, he said, Sister Jasmine, if you become my wife, I promise I won't make you unhappy. But he didn't keep that promise. After Gavin left, Daniel came in and hugged me, saying, I finally have you, Jasmine. Did you know that I became a pilot for you? In ways you can't see, I am secretly in love with you. I softly kissed his forehead. I love you too. Thank you, Daniel, for coming to my rescue during my darkest times. 5 years later, Daniel and I had a daughter. One day, we went to the temple to ask for a peace talisman. We ran into Gavin, who had shaved his head and was dressed in monk's robes. When he saw me, his eyes instantly filled with tears. That's wonderful, your daughter is very cute, he said. I smiled and said, thank you, as I pulled my daughter and Daniel past him. Everyone experiences many regrets in life, so we should make the most of the present and cherish those around us.